Oh yeah. I got my coffee. All right, here we go. Should I start talking?
Yeah, I'm posting all the things.
Okay.
Is anybody there?
All right, Ursula, I'm going to introduce you. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Ask me questions. Anything you type in, Ursula, my assistant, and my niece, is going to be relaying the questions to me, so you can ask anything you want. Maybe about, yeah. Thanks, Ursula.
Yes.
All right. She'll be here. If you hear a voice, that's her.
Hey.
If you hear another voice, it's Brian Hurt over there in the other corner, trying to sabotage my stream. Feel free to come over here.
Nope.
All right. If I get any questions for you, I'll relay them to you.
I have my headphones on.
All right. All right. I'm just gonna keep signing these books. I still have a bunch of red-handed books I have to sign and sketch in. So, if you saw last week, I'm just doing more of those, which is just doing an original ink drawing in every one, and signing them.
Someone said you were on Fox 2 News.
Oh yeah, if you're a local, if you live in St. Louis, yeah, it just ran. So I tried to avoid the TV while it was running. But yeah, it was cool. There was a cool drone shot of the studio, if you saw it.
You did a drone shot?
Yeah, he got a drone shot of the studio.
Oh, I do want to see
I
that.
know. Made me wish we had painted. Our plan is to paint the outside of the building, the front, and then do a mural on the side of it. But the pandemic happened, so we haven't really gotten to it yet. Yeah, I hope everybody found copies of the books today. I've heard local reports of stuff selling out, BRZRKR, and then pretty much everything. Bad Idea, Eniac, Beer Case. I know that the South County store might be temporarily out, but I think they're getting more in if you're in town.
Andrew asks, is it stressful to be writing so many different series at once, or are you having a lot of fun with it?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm always writing more than one thing at a time, but I just usually block out 2 or 3 days to write on one thing and then jump to another. And then it just happenstance that something would come out all on the same day like it did. Like today, it's like the BRZRKR book I've been working on for 2 years. Beer Case I wrote over the summer, and then Bad Idea book that was probably 1.5 years ago that I wrote that. So there's such a delay between the time I write it and it comes out, and I'm working so far ahead. It's not, there's no stress. It's always fun.
Twilight Crisis asks, what are you using to sketch?
What am I using to sketch? I'm using an really old Sable Hair number 2 brush. This is what I used to ink all my comics with. So I'm using this, so if I can get it on camera. And then ink, I use the Sumi Japanese calligraphy ink. So I use something. It usually comes in a bottle like this, and this is waterproof, so you can watercolor over it. It's really solid, and yeah, that's what I used to use, and now I actually, when I'm inking comics now, I actually use these. I found these at jetpens.com. These little, they're kind of disposable. Not really. You can buy refills, and they're just brush pens, and they're great. The ink's in here. They're waterproof, and you can reuse them. And the great thing is the tips on these, they don't wear out. With these sable hair, after a while, they start to dull. Like if you ink on watercolor paper long enough, it starts to dull the bristles. Where these are synthetic, and they kind of last forever, and they're thin enough. Yeah, I just buy refills, and they travel well too. So if I go to conventions and things, it's easier. But when I'm at home in a controlled environment, I like using regular brush and ink.
So just some comments right now. King Paul said, I didn't get Berserker yet because I ordered the foil. The other two I got, Twilight Crisis said Berserker and Eniac were beyond phenomenal, can't wait for more. And the Spotlight said, got 2 covers of Berserker, 2 covers of Fear Case, Wedding on Eniac Black Nail order.
Nice. That's great. Some of those, I don't even know what those covers are. Eventually I'll get a box with some of each, but yeah, no, that's crazy. No, I appreciate everybody that went out today. There were people waiting in line to be first for the Eniac book today. I really appreciate it. Can't believe it's just good to see people getting out to the store, being excited about comics. And no, it's really great. Yeah, I was wondering what people were thinking of the book, so hopefully somebody's had a chance to read it. I know it's still early.
Scott Blue Mass, hi Matt, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. The question was, how am I? If you can't hear Ursula. And the answer is I'm doing well. We just had dinner. Mission taco. And I'm having my second coffee of the day.
Andrew Carlson asks, speaking of coloring, do you have a favorite style of colors, digital, watercolor, etc.?
Favorite style. I think that my favorite style to work in is with watercolors. Let's see if I can grab my set of watercolors. It's in a couple of my other videos. If you look at some of the other videos I posted, I don't see it right now. But I buy like tubes like this. I buy tubes of watercolor like this, and then you can kind of just squirt them into a palette, like one of those little travel palettes, and let them dry out, and then you can just use water to rehydrate them. So that's the way I prefer working. But I tried, I've done some digital digital color on the computer, and I feel like it takes too long to get the effect I want to get, when I could just do it by hand and get exactly what I want. You can get that effect on the computer, but it's just it takes so much longer that I feel like I should just do it by hand. And then the original art looks cooler when you're done.
Ursula Animation says, hey Matt, thanks for doing this. I'm really good at coming up with ideas for stories, but sometimes have trouble ending them. Any tips?
Yeah, and it's funny. The endings usually suggest I either get the ending right away. Like sometimes I'll have the premise and I'll be like, oh, and like a good ending for it. And then when I'm actually writing it, I keep that ending. And then when I get to the end, sometimes the ending doesn't work anymore, and then I change it. Or sometimes I don't. I kind of have a vague idea of the ending, or I'm not really sure. And just the process of writing the story, just do it. Like just start writing it, and as you go, the characters start to come alive, and then the story starts to happen, and then the ending a lot of times will just present itself. You know, if you don't have an idea for where you're going, write to the point where you get there, and then when you get there, you'll get that idea, I think. Even though I wrote a book last week I was struggling with. I had outline, I had it all figured out, I had the ending, wrote the first half, started the second half, and then I hated the ending, and it took me forever to figure out what to do. And then the solution ended up being going back and rewriting the second half of the book, and then getting to a different ending. So it's weird writing and books, like it's just a weird process. It's never the same twice. Like if I could repeat a success by doing the same thing, I would for sure do it, but it's just hard. Every book's different.
A couple people are saying that they really liked Eniac. Kelly asked, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking, this is coffee. It's just a espresso, 2 shots of espresso Americano in my my Twin Peaks mug, Double R Diner. Yeah, I gotta keep going. I woke up early today, and then was saying I'll have 4 shots of espresso a day, 2 in the morning and 2 later. So this usually I have them in the afternoon, but I pushed it as late as I could today. Oh yeah, here we go. That's a good idea. And we have a coffee subscription, and so the coffee I'm drinking now is from. I'll grab it. Banner Dark. Where's this from?
I get it from Trade Coffee. Is that what you're doing?
I can't. It's a subscription online. I'll have to look it up. Look, it's in my email. I'll have to look it up. Yeah. Anyway, this is what I'm drinking now. It's good.
Ambrose asks, what was your favorite Twin Peaks subplot and why was it James Hurley and Evelyn March?
What was the second part?
What was your favorite Twin Peaks subplot
Yeah.
and why was it James Hurley and Evelyn March?
You're not a Hurley fan?
I'm a Hurley fan. I'm not sure that was my favorite subplot. I'm trying to think of my favorite subplot. Well, that's a tough one. Let me think about that for a second. I think you know what it is. It's the Bookhouse Boys. Somebody told me one time at a convention that I should write a Bookhouse Boys series, and I don't ever really imagine working on other people's properties and everything. But when they told me that, I was so excited about that idea that I would totally do that. So I feel like that there's a lot of it, Bookhouse Boys adventures that we didn't get to see that I would like more of. Yeah, that's a good one. Man, I like the Twin Peaks questions.
Shannon says, hi Matt, fellow Lexingtonian here?
Lexingtonian.
Yes.
Yeah, Lexington. I grew up there from 2nd grade until junior year in high school. I was in Lexington, and then we moved here to St. Louis. But yeah, I still have some friends there. I still go to Kansas City Comic-Con every year. When they have that, I'll go there, and then my friend Bill Falls, who you'll know, even if you don't know him, you know him from Mind Management. He was a character. I made him a character in that, and I'm so bad at naming that I based it on him, and then I just named it his name. I thought it'd be funny. But yeah, shout out to Bill. We used to sit at his mom's dining room table and draw comic books. I remember sitting there copying covers of Bill Sienkiewicz's New Mutants at his mom's table when we were kids.
Cameron asked, what did you think of Twin Peaks The Return?
I liked it. I just rewatched it again, because I feel like I was so excited the first time, and then we watched it weekly as it came out, that it's sort of I sort of lost track of like what was happening in the threads, and then it felt like, minor spoiler, waiting for Cooper to come back. It seemed like it took forever the first time through, and that's what I wanted the most. And then the second time through, then I think it worked better. I think I knew when he was going to show up and how it was going to work, and so I think that I liked it better the second time. But yeah, I like it all. I'm a big David Lynch fan. To me, Twin Peaks is, I put in the category of like Star Wars and Planet of the Apes and James Bond. To me, they're kind of review proof. You know, you can have an opinion on it, but for me, it doesn't really matter. It's like I grew up with that stuff. It's so formative that it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna like it no matter what.
Kelly asked, when did you discover that you could make money by drawing?
That's a good one. When did I discover I could make money by drawing?
Yeah, that's why you're writing so much.
That's it. Brian just said from the other room, I didn't. That's why I'm writing so much. Why don't you just pull up a chair over here?
That wasn't a dig on you. That's a dig on comic artists in general.
No, here. Two things. Well, I'll talk about that part too, but yeah, the very first art I ever sold was a 11 by 17 realistic pen and ink rendering of Michael Keaton's Batman. I did all this cross hatching and made it look as photorealistic as I could, and sold that to my biology teacher in Lexington. I won't name him by name unless he wants to be named if he shows up here. But he was in Lexington. He was a biology teacher. He was also the coach of our tennis team. It was a small high school, and I did this drawing, and then he paid me $50 for it, and that was the first thing I'd ever drawn for money. And I think he commissioned me. I think I'd been doing some other drawings. I can't remember how it came about, but I think he commissioned it, and so I just remember working on that drawing for hours and hours every night. I would sit at the dining room table and do this crazy cross hatching to do that. And then what was great is a few years ago at Kansas City Comic-Con, his son came up with that drawing, showed it to me, and I was like, can I buy it back? I want it. That's the first thing I ever sold. And then he wouldn't sell it back to me, but he was happy to have it, so that made me feel good. But yeah, that was one of those things where I think my parents were always a little anxious about what I was going to do or how I was going to turn out, and I think and my dad was like, he's like, as long as you're having fun doing it, but make sure you can make money doing it. And I think they were worried I was just going to live at home forever, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm definitely moving out. But yeah, so I think they ingrained in me like this idea of like, I have fun, love what you do, but also figure out a way to make it sustainable. And like Brian was saying, like as I got older, I realized I have so many ideas. I can't draw them all, so drawing takes so much time. So collaborating with artists just made more sense, so that I could get more stories out there. And I enjoy writing as much as drawing. I don't like one over the other. I like doing one and then doing the other. I get tired of one and then I go back to the other one. And so to me, comics is the perfect medium where I can do both and just sort of flip back and forth.
Someone asked, any idea when the final Patreon sketches will be going out?
Brian, where'd he go? Of course Brian left for that question. Yeah, there's a huge stack of them. You want to see? Oh, I'll show you these. We did a ton of these. I shot some videos. This is how many we have. They're all done. And so we're just figuring out who gets what and shipping them. But this is what we've got. Brian and I do these. We do these watercolors. So he'll draw them, and then I'll paint over. I'll paint them. There's an Elmo. Let's see if we have any better. I don't know who that is. Let's see. Yeah, there's a really cool shadow. Yeah, for our Patreon, we were doing these, and then we realized that they take so much time, we aren't able to keep up with them, so we're sort of phasing those out. But yeah, they're almost done, and they'll go out soon. Ursula's, I haven't told you yet, but we got to ship those next week probably. Good question.
Alright, Shannon asked, we got the first issue of your new book with Keanu Reeves. We got the last copy from A to Z in Blue Springs. Do you or have you shopped there?
A to Z in Blue Springs, that's in Kansas City area? I don't think so. No, I haven't. I'm trying to think. We used to live in Lexington, which is close to Kansas City. Our shop was Kindt Comics, and they had 2 locations. There was one in kind of the city, and then one in a mall. I can't remember the name of the mall. But yeah, the last comic shop I was in Kansas City, I think was Kindt Comics. I don't know if that's still around.
Andrew asked, Andrew said, haven't read the new issues from this week yet, but a big fan of your work. Ether, Grass Kings, Black Hammer 45, Crimson Flower, and so excited for Cosmic Detective. Then he asked, how is it different working with another writer versus being the sole writer?
Yeah, it's definitely different. Like I think it's a little trickier to work with another writer when you're writing than it is to work with an artist, because you're doing 2 different jobs. When you're co-writing, it's definitely can be trickier. And I think the key is to just find a good writing partner. I've only done it 2 times. I did it for the first time with Jeff Lemire, and we were, coming from just being friends already. We had some ideas, and we're like, hey, it'll be fun. We kind of used it as an excuse to just hang out and then come up with something and have fun writing something together. And so we'll kick an idea around and come up with an outline, and then sort of split up the pages, and he'll write some out, and then I'll write some out. And with Keanu, it was a little bit different, but not really. Only in that, like Jeff and I were friends first, where Keanu and I we were just meeting, so that was a little bit. It was kind of backwards. So we sort of became friends through the process, rather than being friends and then starting the process. So it was a little bit backwards, but we ended up getting to the same spot. And as far as like the extra thing I'm bringing to it is I know how to. I'm formatting the scripts in a way where we can hand them to the artist, and he can draw off of what I've written. But other than that, it's kind of the same. We sort of talk about character and then spitball ideas for like scenes and dialogue and everything, and go back and forth, and it's fun. It's like if you get a good collaboration, it's fun to do, and if you have a bad one, all I want to do is escape. And so I'm kind of always a little apprehensive when it comes to collaborating. It's different with artists, but when you're writing, it's definitely a little bit trickier. But I've been lucky. I've had 2 co-writing experiences, and they both have been great.
Andrew said, I'd love to hear some of your comic artists' artistic influences, like you mentioned some word I don't know, and New Mutant stuff.
Yeah, Bill Sienkiewicz. Is that one of them?
Yes.
Yeah. Boy, so let's just look. This is all my favorite books are kind of on this shelf, are the ones that I get inspired from. This is why I sat here today, in case somebody asks. Yeah, tons of books. I've got a Kirby section down here, Gilbert Hernandez, Palomar, which is a great book. Some David Mazzucchelli. What else do we got? A bunch of European stuff. Some of my favorite stuff down here. Tintin's down here. Bluch. He's really good. He's a European artist. Who else? Stray Bullets is over here. Dave Lapham. One of my all-time favorites. Jack Staff I really like. Concrete. Jeff's Essex County, of course. Black Hole. If you're just looking for comic book influences, there's Stray Toasters by Bill. But yeah, Stray Bullet. I reread Stray Bullets over the summer because I read it in issues and I hadn't read it since. And I was reading it. This is before I knew I was even going to be working with Dave on anything, and I actually ordered it off his website, and he signed and did a little sketch in it, and then we ended up getting introduced to each other through Bad Idea, and then writing these series of short stories for Bad Idea, the Hero Trade. So if you bought Eniac today, issue 1, there's a new story in there by me and him. It's an 8-pager, and we're doing a series of those. So that's one, and then I think there's 3 more so far that all sort of tie together. But it was so much fun. It was great to have read Stray Bullets, and then immediately it's like, hey, do you want to work with Dave on this thing? And I was like, yeah. I was so excited. Anyway, that was one of the most fun things I've written in a long time. The stories for him.
Edie Bass says moved episodes watching your interviews with Ross Ritchie, so a lot of questions were pre-answered. The one I have left is pretty goofy. Do you miss crimes, or are you relieved they're temporary on hold?
Yeah, well, the answer changed over the course of the year. In the spring, I was supposed to go to France for a convention, and there's it's like a crime. I think Grass Kings had got nominated for something, so I was really excited. And then that got canceled. It was in April. It got canceled like a week before I was supposed to go, so I was bummed. But then after that, and then all the shows started getting canceled. I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. I can just stay home, focus on my work, get a lot done, and it really did it. Like conventions take a lot of energy, and so it was kind of nice to have a schedule where all I had to do was wake up, write, or draw, answer emails or not answer emails, and then every day. And so that it was kind of nice. I was kind of not missing conventions. And then by the time we got to the fall and then through the holidays, I was like, it's just kind of isolating. So I was like, I really kind of miss it. I can't believe I miss conventions because they're hard and they take a lot of work. But I definitely miss them now. I'm ready for stuff to go back to normal and get to some conventions. Because what you don't realize is it's not just during the day part, but just conventions are great afterwards, and meeting with friends and cartoonists that you don't see very often, or you only see at conventions because they're in other cities and everybody's busy working. So I really miss that too.
Crooked Tooth Productions says, Kindt, best decade for art in the last 100 years, and why?
Best decade. Well, that's a tough one. I'm gonna consider just comic book art.
It says comics,
Okay.
fine art, or animation.
Oh, fine art or animation. Boy, that's tough. All right, we'll start with comics. I think that's easy. What's weird though is it's so biased because I grew up when I was reading Dark Knight and Watchmen, they were just coming out and changing the way I thought about comics. And then Dan Clowes, it's like the 90s stuff. Dan Clowes, Chris Ware, all those guys, they sort of inspired me to do comics. So I'm always going to probably say they're the best. Or that's the best generation. So 86 or 85 to 95. If I had to pick 10 years, it would be that. In comics. I mean, there's just so much good stuff. Just laying the groundwork for a lot of the good things that are coming out now. As far as the other art, I don't know, but all of art history. I don't know. I'm all over the place on that. I really like stuff, I love Edward Hopper and de Kooning and a lot of modern stuff. So I don't know. I think I'm all over the place on that. I don't think there is a single good best 10 years. And then what was the other category? Animation. Um, I don't know. Is it bad if I'm not a fan of animation? I don't
he
know.
was just asking generally, like, best decade for any kind of art.
Yeah, yeah. No, with comics definitely 86, 85 to 95 is what I would pick.
Art.
Tough one. Good. I don't want to have to talk about all that other stuff.
Shannon asks, would you ever do both on one book? I'm guessing art and writing.
Yeah, I did. I've done a bunch of books where I did the writing and the art. So I did. My first book was Pistol Whip, and then I've done like, they're all back here. Department H. Red Handed, which is the one I'm signing right now. I did all the writing and the art for. Yeah, it's honestly it's my preferred way of working, because I have total control of everything. I think maybe my favorite project I've worked on was Mind Management, where I did a monthly book for 3 years, and I did all the lettering, coloring, design. I did every part of it, and having that total control. There's no other medium you can work in where you can have that kind of control, except for comics, really, to be able to tell a story like exactly how you want it told. So yeah, no, I love doing it. The only when I don't do it, it's because I have finite time. I'm gonna die before I get all my ideas done, so I collaborate to get more of them done.
Okay, Luke asks, have you ever been approached to option your work for film or series? Feel like Mind Management would make such a good series.
Yeah, you know one of the jokes in the comic book industry is everybody's got an option, which is kind of a jaded way to look at it, but it's options where people sort of develop the books happens a lot, and so getting it over that finish line, getting something greenlit, that's the hardest part. So yeah, almost everything I've got is currently option being developed, and you just the hope is that one of those things is gonna actually get made. It's tough. It's a long process and a lot of people involved, and it's so much more expensive. Like, that's the beauty of comics, is like it doesn't. The only cost is the cost of the ink and paper. But with movies and television, there's so many more moving parts, so much more money. It's just harder. But yeah, hopefully something in the next year or two.
Okay, Dan asks, with the game coming out soon, what's next on the horizon for Mind Management?
I secretly wrote a 4-issue limited series that they haven't announced yet. So that's happening, and it's currently in the works. So I don't know when it's coming out. I sort of teamed up with 4 different artists who I won't name, and until it's time to announce it. But yeah, there's that happened. That's already written, and after that, there's nothing I can say publicly. Even that I wasn't supposed to probably talk about. But yeah, there's definitely more. The board game was really fun. It was nice to get back into that universe, and so there's definitely more on the way. That's as specific as I can get.
Scott said I was going to ask about Keanu. What's it like working with him?
It's awesome. No, he's great. I went into that project kind of skeptical because I didn't want to just be the one who's doing all the grunt work, right? And then having him put his name on it, and he's not involved, or I'm writing a story I don't want to write, or there's so many ways it could have gone wrong. And I was ready, like even the first meeting, I was ready to just not do it. If I felt like it wasn't right, or it wasn't going to be a good book, or I couldn't add something to it. It's like, why me? Like, so I was apprehensive about how it would go, and then after the first meeting, we sort of clicked, and I liked his idea. He had like a nice twist on this idea, the Immortal Warrior, that I really liked. And then the more he talked about the character, and then the more we actually just collaborated, the more fun it got, and he's involved in every part of the process. It's not at all what I thought it was going to be. I thought we would meet for a little bit, and then I would just go and I would write it, and that would be it, you know. But we have meetings all the time. We're constantly working on it, and working on the outline, and then going over the scripts, and he's so hands on, like. And I think that's what I really respect is the work ethic. You know, it's like he really is passionate about it. Like, he loves comics as much as I do, and he's working as hard as I am on it, and it's just kind of contagious. You know, it's like we're just having a great time. So yeah, I would just say it's super fun.
Dan asked any teaser for the upcoming Ether hardcover from Dark Horse. Is it library edition?
Yeah, I think they are. Am I supposed to, I don't know if I'm supposed to say. But yeah, David did he did this amazing new cover and everything, this big wraparound thing that's so cool. And I thought I saw some of that online, so hopefully I'm not spoiling something that we're not supposed to talk about. But yeah, it's gonna be great, and his art really deserves it. He's just so good. Like, he's a true original, and I just like another person who I just lucked into working with, you know.
Kelly asked, how are you feeling about being a YouTuber, man?
I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for Ursula helping. Like, as much as active as I've been, it's only because Ursula has been able to like figure it out and help me do it. I remember being at a convention, sitting there. I think it was when Super Spy came out, and I was sitting there signing books, and this 10-year-old kid came up to me, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" He's like, he looked at me and he's confused, and he's like, where are the YouTubers? And I didn't understand. I was like, what? He's like, where are the YouTubers? I was like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, this is my revenge on that 10-year-old kid. It's terrible. No, I think it's just fun. I think if I'd been able to go to conventions and things like I'd done every year for the last 20 years, if we'd been able to do that and just interact and talk to people, I think I wouldn't have done it. But spending a year in kind of isolation has sort of made me realize that I had to do something, you know, and just interact somehow.
Arsenal Animation asks, do you have an iPad Pro to work on?
I do have an iPad Pro, and I draw on it sometimes. When I was working on Department H, I did some of that digitally, and I would work on the iPad, and I could sit. I couldn't do drawing on it. I could only do like inking. So I did some limited inking on there, and I liked it because you could really zoom in and get detail on some of the bigger pages. So yeah, I used that. But right now, I've gone back to. Well, actually, I've only been writing lately. I haven't had time to draw anything. So if I do covers, I'm just doing them pen, paper, ink, watercolor. But yeah, I have the iPad Pro right now. It just sits by my bed, and then I fall asleep watching history documentaries to it. That's why I'm using it. I go through phases. So I was falling asleep to old film noir crime movies that were on YouTube, and then now I'm into like art history, and that kind of thing.
Okay, John Warren said, just caught your segment on Fox 2. Awesome to see comic story on the news. Matt M said, Eniac wasn't available in my area. Is there any other way to get it?
Yeah, if you email me or just contact me through social media, I'll put you in touch with how to do it. The way Bad Idea is working is they're having, like, the stores have to sort of sign up to get the books or to carry the books, and I don't know. I don't understand. I don't pretend to know how it all works or whatever. But we'll figure it out. If you need a copy, we'll get you a copy. Just let me know, and then I'll put you in touch with somebody to get you one. And in the worst case, hopefully I'll get a stack of them and we'll throw them up on the website. I haven't got my comps yet. I haven't seen everybody that got one today has seen it in person before I got to see it in person.
Some comments.
Yeah, not to say Eniac #1, I probably read that issue more times than I've read any issue of anything I've written. We worked on it so hard and for so long, and it went through a lot of revisions. Like I written a draft of it, and then we did that, and then I actually was, when I was done, I called Warren, my editor, Warren Simons, and I was like, we need a 5-page, we need something action at the beginning, we need something active. It just starts out so quiet, and then he's like, oh, I don't know, and then a couple days later he's like, yeah, we need that. He looked at it again. He's like, we need that scene, and it wasn't just the action and that Eniac, those opening 5 pages. It wasn't just like we need some action to get you in the story. It was, I really wanted to introduce those characters, so when you see them again, you kind of already know who they are and what they're about. And I really felt like we just needed that action to show their character, but we needed it early, right away, because they end up being like the main characters in the book, and to wait to see them till halfway through just didn't seem right.
Frank, the name looks a little different because the woman's profile that it looks like said, Matt, you still are as marvelously kind and talented as you were in the small town of Lexington years ago. So glad to see you doing so much.
All right, thank you. That'll make me. I appreciate it. No, it's funny. Boy, I will apologize for my hair. I was supposed to get a haircut, but from a family member, and everybody was very excited to give me one, but I was not excited to get one, so I didn't get one. And then and then Brian came in today. He's like, I need to put some product in my hair, and I was like, this is me trying. I put something in my hair. It didn't work. So anyway, that has nothing to do with that previous comment. I just didn't know what to say about it, but except thanks.
Kelly asked, how long can you draw or work on a project, and which job gave you the most pleasure?
How long can I work? Like in a day, sometimes I'll have like 12 or 14 hour days if I'm really into it, like drawing or writing, doesn't matter. But like length of a project, when I did Mind Management, that was 36 issues over 3 years, and that was about as much as I could do. I was doing 24 pages a day, beginning to writing, drawing, inking, coloring, everything, and that's probably as much as I could possibly do. I worked such long hours, but and I don't think I could do it again. I think I'm too old now to do that again like that with the deadline pressure. But that's 3 years is about as long as I could go on a project, and it's about as big as I could go. Like everything, the stuff I'm doing now, most of it's around 100 pages, 200 pages, something like that. Just kind of smaller stories. I really enjoy the in Eniac, the 8-pager in the back of Eniac. I did a bunch of those, and there's something about the 8-page story. I just love writing them. I did a few, and then Warren liked them so much. I think we were like, let's do some more of them. And I was like, this is great. When I did the book Super Spy, that was originally done. I did it in 8-page short stories. I did that for a whole year. And I just really enjoyed working in the short form, like trying to figure out how big of a story can you tell in 8 pages, and what can you do with that limited space. I just had so much fun with it. So I think actually 8-page stories is my favorite thing to write.
Edie Bass asked, how much positive stuff are you planning to treat us fans to?
As much as I can. I think I've been adjusting my schedule so I can start recording more, and I'm gonna do another one. I was looking at it, seemed like the one people liked the most was the writing process, so I'm gonna do another one with the writing process. I just have to figure out what script it's gonna be, because again, like sometimes the scripts are easy and everything flows and it comes out all right, and then sometimes it's more of a grind and it's harder and I have to rewrite. So I don't want to record that one. I want to record one that goes well. So I'll figure that out. It'll probably be a bad idea book that I'll show the writing process for. It's harder to do that too with writing. It's so much in your head, but I could show like the process of outlining and scripting and the thought behind it. It's just a little harder to do that. It's honestly, it's hard to draw and talk at the same time. Writing and then explaining is hard too. So I might just write it and then do a voiceover afterwards. But I'm open to suggestions. If there's any part of the process anybody wants to see, let me know. And that's what we'll do.
Yeah, Miles just requested an inking process.
Oh yeah. No, that's good. I will. And lately I've been inking 2 different ways. Like I've been inking by hand with brush and ink like this, and some of the other brushes I have that I showed earlier. But I've been messing around with Clip Studio Paint, which is, I have like a Wacom tablet, and I've been inking on that too, just to see what I can do, and so I'll record both of those process just to show the difference.
Andrew and Scott both say your hair looks fine and you're rocking your quarantine hair.
Yeah, quarantine hair. I would like that. I would agree with that, except that I've had this hair before non-quarantine. This is my like in between conventions hair. What happens is I'll go like 2 months without a haircut, and then I go in to get a haircut because there's a convention that weekend. And my guy I get my haircut by, he's I have to tip him extra because of all the extra hair.
Andrew asks, is there a series of yours that is your personal favorite, or a particular character you love returning to?
Yeah, I would say mind management is my favorite, and I think it just hit me. I did that in a time in my life where I was just coming up with a project where I could throw every single idea that I've ever had up until that point into one book and one story, and so I feel like it's a crazy series, and it's probably a little too much, but it's kind of what I liked, is that I threw everything into it, in a way that I don't think I could do it again. Like, it was so much work, and I don't think I could repeat it. So it's probably my favorite. And then I'd say, as far as characters go, I like drawing Henry Lime from Mind Management. I probably drawn him more than anybody else.
No questions right now.
Alright, that's alright.
Brett says, you rule, Matt, in case you were wondering. Thanks for all the great books. Matt M says, I'm excited to get my copy of Red-Handed. Love the sketches, can't wait to see mine. I miss reading books that you wrote and drew as well.
Yeah, me too. I really do. And that's what my wife Charlene's always like, what are you drawing next? And I'm like, I keep getting these projects where I'm the writer, and and then it's hard for me to get to the project that I'm supposed to draw. And a lot of it is it's become busier because I found artists I really like working with, like Tyler Jenkins on Grass Kings, and then now we're doing Fear Case, and and we finished Fear Case, but we want to do another thing, and I was like, and he wanted this week. He was like texting me. He's like, "Where? Do you have any script? Even just the first 5 pages, so I can start." I was like, it's not ready yet. I don't have it ready, and but so yeah, I love working with certain artists, like Tyler, and then I'm gonna be working with Wilfredo on Bang again, and then Matt Lesniewski on Crimson Flower. I have another thing I'm supposed to do. I want to do with him. So I really enjoy working, collaborating. So those collaborations get in the way of me just sitting down, writing and drawing a thing on my own. That said, I have a project that I'm supposed to be writing and drawing, and it's just a matter of carving out some time in my schedule to do it. But this is good. If you're from Lexington, I'm doing a book. The book is called Sleepy Hollow, and it's based on growing up in Lexington, and then there was a murder that took place there, and it's sort of based on that true crime that happened there, and me growing up there as a kid, and my friends, and sort of it's a cross between like Stand By Me and I don't know what, Essex County or something, but set in Lexington. But yeah, so that's the book I'm going to be drawing. I just had to sit down and do it. I did like 3 pages and then got sidetracked. But it's coming.
E.D. Bass asks, would you ever write characters from my management for someone else to draw?
Yes, I'm doing that. Did a 4-issue series that they haven't announced yet. That's got 4 amazing artists drawing, a different artist drawing each issue. And I can't wait to announce it, but it's not announced yet because we're still we only have 1.5 issues in the can right now. But soon there's gonna be more mind management for sure.
Dan said I went to buy the original art for the cover of Mind Management number 25, the Henry cover. Where can I get my grubby hands on? I love it.
The Henry cover. Which one was that? The issue 25.
24.
24. Oh, it's the one that the spread where he's walking. I'm trying to think if did that sell? I'm trying to think if it did. I think I might have held on to it. I think it's in the drawer over there. I should go look and grab it. Should I? What time is it?
6:54.
Yeah, should I do it? I'm gonna go look real fast. I think I just saw it.
Matt, we'll be back soon.
I don't have it. But I have, look at this though. Here's a spread. This is from, I don't think that's from, I don't know which issue that is, but look how big this one's big. This is like a 3-page pull-out spread that was in the book. That's gigantic. This is a page from like the last couple issues, big double spread. I don't know why I'm showing these, just because I haven't seen them in a while, but I ran across them the other day. This hasn't come out yet. This is for like an eventual box set of the whole series. That's the box that the book will go in. Secret sneak preview. There's another spread. Anyway, I held on to most of the spreads on that cover. I don't know if I sold it already or not. But I don't know. I didn't hold on to much art, but I held on to some of the bigger pages because they took so long to do.
Andrew says, man, the buddy dynamics in Fear Case #1, the gift exchange in particular, was incredible. So pumped to read #2 tonight.
Oh, that's good. Thank you so much. No, that was so fun to write. I really wanted to do a series where it's just two characters sort of talking and like being friends and everything, and then the mystery and all that stuff that's the fun part. But for me, the fun part was those characters and sort of developing their relationship.
Miles asks, how do you stay so inspired? It seems like you always have amazing projects going.
How do I stay inspired? This coffee. Coffee is a big part of it. I'm ashamed to admit it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just maybe it's a little ADD. But no, I read a lot of books. I watch a lot of movies, and I'm inspired by other people's art. And so when I see that, it makes me want to make it or add to the conversation. And at a certain point, it just becomes, it's just the thing you do. Like, I don't know what else I would do at this point. There was a point in my career where I was like, well, if I have to go get a real job now, I don't think I'll be able to do it. Because this is all I want to do.
Off the Page Games says, more mind management, huzzah.
Don't spread that around off the page. I know who you are.
Amber's asks, back to Twin Peaks, how satisfying is the ending to the big and normal storyline? I'd probably tear up right now if that Otis Redding song were to play.
Yeah, no, I don't even want to talk about it in public. But yeah, right. I think as much as Lynch can defy your expectations or like withhold the thing that you think you want, and he gives you what he wants to give you. As much as he does that scene, yeah, maybe that's my favorite subplot of season 3 for sure. But yeah, it was probably my favorite moment. Now I remember I did a commission. Somebody asked for a Twin Peaks commission with Big Ed, and so I did one. It looked like a paperback romance novel cover with him and her, and then it had type on it and everything. It was one of my favorites.
Okay, someone asked, Matt, do you have any advice for someone who wants to start writing comics?
My advice is to read as many comics as you can. I'm assuming you've already read a ton of comics. But the best way to be good at the thing or to get better at it is to actually take in the thing you're doing. Like if you want to make movies, you watch a ton of movies. If you want to write books, you read a bunch of books. And same with comics. Like if you want to make comics, you just got to read a ton of them. Like read everything that you get your hands on. And then to me the mechanics of actually doing it, that's the easy part. You can get a book or watch a YouTube video and figure out how you format a script and stuff. The formatting and all that's the easy part. The hard part is figuring out how comics work, And when I was growing up and learning, there weren't classes that teach you how or go through graphic novels and analyze them and everything. I kind of had to do it on my own. So there's also that too. But I think you can learn a lot just by looking at the thing you want to do.
Off the Page Games asks, which other comic of yours do you think best deserves a board game based on?
Let's see, Jay, is that you? What? I'm trying to think. Oh, I think that's easy. I'm looking at my books. Department H, for sure. Although, I feel like there's a couple games already out there that sort of do something that I would want to do with Department H. I think Department H would be good. You got a murder mystery and then a time limit where the deep sea base is filling up with water, and you have to solve a mystery before it ends. I think that would be good. You get a ticking clock going on the game. I think that could work. something like that. But yeah, geez, man, as much fun as I have doing comics, board, designing board games is the hardest thing I've ever seen. I can't believe how much work goes into designing a board game. Like, you just don't know unless you've seen it, how it works. But I have so much respect for board game designers.
Alright. Jason Knight Niels said, "We had a great time today selling the Matt Kindt trifecta, which is a great way to hype up a small release week."
Yeah, no, that's good. Thanks a lot.
And Dan said, "I'm jealous of off-the-page game portrait you did for him. Can I commission one for you as a Patreon contributor? I'll be easy to draw since I'm bald."
Yeah, any bald and beards, those are the best. Yeah, shoot us a message. We'll figure it out. No, as much work as Jay and Sen did on that board game, they needed to be in it, and I ended up sending the art. Jay just got his art. I shipped it over a month ago. He just got it like this week, I think. And we were worried it was lost.
Cameron asks, "Do you watch Lynch's daily weather reports on YouTube?"
Yeah, I do. I don't know why, but I do. They cheer me up. But it kind of reminds me of back in the 90s. I think it was Dark Horse Presents. It was like an anthology book they were publishing, and David Lynch did a comic strip. It was like 3-panel comic strip, and it was in there every month, or it might have been weekly. But it was called The World's Angriest Dog, and it was just this dog on a leash outside, and he was just angry. And every comic strip, that was it. He was like growling or barking. And but it was cool because I think he drew it. He wrote it and drew it, so that was kind of great.
Marla Kent asks, "When's the last time you dipped your brush in your coffee and then forgot and drank it?"
Probably 2 days ago. Yeah, the trick is your coffee's on the left side. If you're right-handed, the coffee's on the left, and your water or your ink is on the right. So you at least you'll have to reach over if you're going to dip it in your coffee. So I do that, but it still happens every once in a while. And I set a limit at 2. After the second dip, then that it has to be dumped out. But 2 dips, it's not dirty enough to just throw out a cup of coffee. That's just wrong. And it depends. If I'm using this black ink, I think I would just throw it out. But watercolor doesn't seem as bad. Good question.
Marla also asked, "Could the lovely question person speak louder?" I will try.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be repeating the question, so I apologize if you can't hear the question. I forgot to do that. We're new at this. We're new YouTubers. We'll be getting better.
You need a mic to be efficient.
Yeah, I have a mic, but I think it's just picking up off this. We'll figure it out for next time.
Frank says, "Very cool. I can't wait to see it. Sleepy Hollow Drive is usually pretty low key. This is Joanna Hopner.
Yeah.
That's the one from Lexington.
Yeah.
She said, "Promise, I'm not stalking. I just think this is super cool."
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Sleepy Hollow is where we lived. That was the street we lived on when we lived there. And yeah, it was pretty quiet. It was a dead end street. But yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be. I actually went back to Lexington to do some research and find some old newspaper articles. And the murder that's in the book is it was the one where it was in the front page of the newspaper when it happened, but there was a body that they found hanging off the bridge. Somebody tried to throw the body off the bridge, and it got hung up on the bridge. And I remember being in the paper, so I went back to try to find the paper with that image in it, because it just stuck with me. Anyway, so that's but it's going to be about more than that. It's about kind of growing up there and what the town was like. So it'll be fun.
No questions right now.
Okay, that's all right. It's good to hear from some Lexingtonians. Yeah, the book, if you saw last time, the book I'm signing is Red Handed. This is a crime book I did for First Second, which is a division of Simon & Schuster. It came out a few years ago. But it's a crime book with separate chapters. I don't know how many chapters, maybe 8 chapters. Each chapter is a self-contained story, but they all sort of tie together. There's like a bigger mastermind that's sort of organizing all these crimes. And you sort of figure there's a little twist at the end. Anyway, that's the one I'm signing now. Where did that sign marker go?
Dan said, show off that custom bind of mind management. I hear there's a second version of that coming. I missed out on the first.
Oh yeah, yeah. So mind management. It's 2 volumes, and then I had a bunch of leftover issues when the series was done, and so I just had these. I had my single issues hardcover bound. Hushin Bindery does these custom binds. You know, whatever you want. So it's actually. Let's see if I can film it here. It'd be better. But it's all the issues put together. It's the actual issues. So I like it better than the collection because you get it's the actual issue with the glossy cover, and then all the ads are in it. You get the back covers, and letters pages are in there and everything. Yeah, I had these done. So I know I had a few extra done that they sold, and I don't know if they're doing another one. If they're doing another one, yeah, you should get it. They're cool. I like it.
Chris says, you stopped by Meltdown Comics in Hollywood and drew in the Mind Management Volume 1. I drove an hour the next day and they still had it. I was so hyped to pick it up. And then he said, that was many years ago, but it's one of my favorite books in my collection.
Yeah, that's awesome. I totally remember doing that. It was one of those things. I don't remember why I was in LA that time. But I always try to hit a couple of shops when I'm there just to get stuff, to buy books, you know. And then I try not to. I don't want to sign my own books there. I just feel like it's weird. I feel awkward. But I think they might have asked me, or somebody there knew me, and then asked me to do it. So I sketched in it. Yeah, that's a good shop. Really good shop. And that's good. I'm glad you got it. Thanks.
Marla asks, who are some of your favorite colorists?
My favorite colorist, I'm going to tell you right now, my favorite colorist, I'm actually working with him, is Bill Crabtree. Like, if you don't know his work yet, you're going to know it. He's coloring BRZRKR now, a Keanu book, and then but he colored before that. I knew him from Six Gun. He colored all of Brian Hurt and Cullen Bunn's Six Gun series, and I knew him from that. And I know that Six Gun would come out, the new issue would come out, and then Brian would be like, "Hey, look at this," and he would flip through, and he would like narrating the color on this, like, "Look what Bill did. Look how he used the color to tell the story and everything." And he just this is before I knew Bill at all, and then and so I got onto him through Six Gun, and then I started working on a couple projects where we needed colorists. I was like, "Oh, Bill, I'm gonna see if Bill's available," and he was. And so I got him on BRZRKR, and then he's coloring Crimson Flower right now. And then the third thing, I can't remember what. Is it? Yeah, there's something else coming out. I think that hasn't come out yet, or we haven't announced. But yeah, Bill's I'm gonna work with him as much as possible. But he's, of all the people right now and especially that I'm working with, he's amazing. And then Tyler Jenkins' wife, Hillary, who's been painting everything he's done, is also amazing. She's such a good artist in her own right. And then the real answer is it's supposed to be Charlene, right, on Department H, which is the real answer. Um, she's the worked with her on Department H, and she painted the entire thing, and it was amazing. I would love to do another thing with her, and we've talked about it. So one day. Okay.
Ricardo asks, how do you deal with those days when nothing you write feels good, assuming you're human and the inked coffee hasn't mutated yet? Much love from Portugal.
Yeah, you know what you do on those days is you just watch a couple movies, just do something else. Like other than the one thing I was writing a couple weeks ago, where I got stuck and then I had to rewrite and rewrite. I was under deadline pressure, so that was the problem. Was I didn't have all the time in the world. I had to figure out a solution and do it to get it to the artists because they were ready for it. So like, other than that, like if there's no deadline and you have some time, just read a few books, watch a few movies, just take a couple of days off. That's what I usually do. And a lot of times I'll do that just to charge my batteries up before I start a new big project. I know I did that over the summer. I was writing a screenplay and I was like, I haven't watched movies in a while and everything. So I just watched a ton of movies back to back to back and just watched a bunch of really good ones. I'm going to look up some of the ones I watched too. I'll recommend. But yeah, it's just do something else not related, or if you're doing something that's like a crime story, watch some crime movies and just see if there's, just to get your creative juice going. I'm gonna see if I can find. I made a list of all the movies I watched this summer. It's gonna take me a while. I got this new app called Letterboxd that just has you can keep track of all the movies you watched. And so I can't navigate it though. There's one I watched that I wanted to mention that I really liked. I'll think of it. Oh, here it is. Long Day's Journey into Night. That was the one I watched over the summer that just was so great. The cinematography and the story was really cool and well told, and it didn't really tie into anything I was doing. It just was inspiring because it was original and did something I didn't expect, and it looked great.
Ambrose Chase says, both times my wife has gotten pregnant, I found out from commissions from that. If conventions ever happen again and he comes back to Baltimore, would he mind taking a photo with her?
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I want to see the kids. I think I keep drawing them as logs, Twin Peaks logs. So I want to see them in real life. No, that'd be great. And we love Baltimore. My daughter actually applied to a school in Baltimore, and she ended up not going there. But for a minute, I thought she might be going there. They have a good art school there. Is it called? What is it? Mecca? Is it Mecca? Maybe. Anyway, they look good. I would have gone there.
Alright, Andrew asks, do you have a particular genre you enjoy writing or a favorite movie genre?
Not really. Yeah, not really. I like to jump around. Like, I like crime, and I like mysteries, and I like documentaries, and I like everything. Like we just finished watching the Durrells in Corfu. Is that what the title is? Yeah. Anyway, that has nothing to do with anything I do or like, but I was like, I really liked it. That's not my style. Not my style of anything I do. It's just it was really nice, really good. And what else am I watching? We put on our watch list that new one by the guy that did The Patriot, the creative team behind The Patriot. I can't remember the title of that, but we're saving it because I'm so excited to watch it. We're gonna save it for next week. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a favorite. I like historical stuff. I like history, spies, of course. I just watch everything, you know.
Ursula animation says a curse word. Matt. I always have to look in every panel and gutters for cryptic messages or hidden codes now. I think it might have something to do with PK verbs.
Yeah, it's his fault. He's the villain. No, you know what's funny is like I don't get a lot of it. The fan mail that actually gets mailed to me is some of the craziest fan mail you've ever seen. It's like codes and sort of like patched together things and it's just the weirdest mail you could ever imagine. And so part of me regrets that part of mind management because I was like, I'm not good at code breaking. I'm good at I can make the codes, I can do the codes, but actually breaking codes and doing the puzzles and stuff like that, I'm not very good at it. So it's always problematic when I get mail and I have to decode it. But yeah, PK Verb, he's going to be showing up. He's in Bang. He's in pretty much everything I'm doing right now. I don't know if he showed up in Crimson Flower. I think he's in the background. He's in Fear Case. He shows up. One of his books shows up in Fear Case. Berserk. I'll have to see if I can slip him into Berserker somewhere. There's sort of a character in Berserker that's like a PK Verb-esque character. Caldwell. He's sort of like the PK Verb of that book, but he's not.
Marla asks, do you like any movies with Michael Caine?
Terrible. Yeah, Michael Caine. Yeah, sure. Mute. Hit the mute.
Chris asks, do you have a regular job before you started making art or comics?
Yeah, I did. Let's go through my whole job history. That'll be exciting. I'll do it. My first job was at a movie theater at the Galleria. If you're in St. Louis, it was at the Galleria, the one downstairs. My next job was at where is it? Star Clipper Comics. I worked at a comic book store. Then I worked at a bookstore, Little Professor Books. I worked there with my brother. That was trouble. My brother caught the microwave on fire when we worked there. He put foil in the microwave. Let's see, what was after that? So these are my real jobs. This is when I was in college. I was going to school, taking art classes. Worked at Blockbuster Music for a while. And then what happened? What happened after that? So then I went to school. Then out of school, yeah, I got my degree was in art with emphasis in graphic design. So I got a graphic design job out of school, working in May Company, the department store. There was an in-house design department they had, so I designed packaging and did some illustrations and stuff like that. So I did that for like 3 years, and then worked at another small design place, and then I worked at Sporting News doing designing coffee table books, and like direct mail stuff. And the whole time I was doing those day jobs, I was always working on comics. Like I had actually had a couple books published. Pistol Whip was published, Two Sisters, and then I got laid off. I got laid off the week before our daughter was born, so it was like 17 years ago. And then I was like, I'm just gonna try to do comics for a living, and see what happens. So I did the book Super Spy, where I did 8 page stories every week for a year, um, and just posted them online for free, and then ended up publishing the book with Top Shelf, and then I never had a real job after that. After Sporting News, I never had a real job again. But there was definitely like a few years where I'm like, am I gonna have to get a real job? I don't think I can do it anymore. I'm a terrible employee. Like, I'm motivated to do what I want to do, and if it's not that, I can be lazy, which is not good. But luckily, I'm just doing comics, so it's good.
Andrew said that's cool. I feel like it's somewhat evident in your work. It's not about a particular style, but ideas and people. I love your focus on character development and weird meta freelance.
Yeah, I know that's funny. That's why I guess I don't like I pick a genre for a book because I feel like every book has to have one. So like when I read books, I wanted to have something. I wanted to have crime or something in it, superheroes, whatever it is. I wanted to have it in there, but I don't want it to be about that. So I think, maybe that's it. It's like I like doing a crime book. It's not as much about the crime, but maybe it's about like the people, why they do it, that kind of thing. I think I did Fear Case. The reason I wrote Fear Case is because I'd never done a horror story or anything in the horror genre, and I was like, because it's not one of my favorites. I don't watch a lot of horror movies. I don't read books like that. And then I was like, I wonder why. But then I love movies like The Shining, which I think is amazing. And what was the other one? There's one called The Witch or The Witches, which was like really good. It was just like a grounded story that was really creepy. And then and it was like, was it supernatural or is it not? Like, is the goat possessed by the devil or isn't he? And it kind of leaves it up to you. I love horror that's kind of like that. It's still more character driven. So I wrote Fear Case. I'm like, well, I wonder what I can do with that. So Fear Case ends up being about friendship, the relationship between these two guys or whatever, and then the horror is there. It's a part of it, but it's not really what it's about. Not all the way.
No questions right now.
All right. I just got a call from my editor. I wonder what he wants. Said take it live. I don't think he'd like that. Warren, if you're watching this, just text me a message. I'll answer. Let's see if I can get him to do it. All right. That was Warren, my bad idea editor. I texted him, told me to send me a question. So we'll see what he does.
Matt says, will the whole Super Spy collection ever be released again or back in stock on your site?
Will you ask me that question again?
Yes. Will the whole Super Spy collection ever be released again or back in stock on your site?
Yeah, no, I know it's out of print right now, and I think we're figuring out how and when to reprint it. Again, it's just another one of those books. That book, and then a book, The Tooth, that I drew with Cullen Bunn. That's another one that's just fell out of print, and we're working on like figuring out a reprint of that book too. So it'll happen. I wanted to. My idea with Super Spy was to do a trilogy where it was going to be Super Spy, then Supernatural, then Supercomputer. So it was spies, then ghost story, and then science fiction, and do like a trilogy, a genre trilogy. And but again, it's just like I didn't want to reprint Super Spy until I'd done the next book, and I just haven't had time. But we'll get there.
Alright. Marla said, tell us a story about working with Keanu.
Tell us a story. Trying to think of a good one. Well, I can tell one of the early meetings we had, we were just talking about the process and everything, and he knows story, and we were weaving the story together, and then, but he was asking me questions about the process, like how does it work with comics and everything, and I was explaining how like we write the script, and then we give it to the artist, and then the artist draws it based on what we've given him. But then when the art comes back, you kind of gotta be ready for it not to be exactly how you picture it or exactly what we thought. You have to be sort of flexible as to what your expectations are when you get the art back. And he just looked at me and he was like, Matt, he's like, I make movies. And I was like, oh yeah, you get that it doesn't always end up how you intended or whatever. And anyway, it was just funny. I was trying to explain something that he experiences every day. But it actually made me more aware of like the beauty of comics is that it really is just like kind of like a handful of us. It's like me and him and the artist and the colorist and letterer working on this thing. There's no interference. We don't have a budget. The budget is unlimited. It's like whatever we can think of. And so I think that's kind of what drew him to the medium, because I think in movies there is so much more money and so many more people involved. It's just harder to get your story told. And so I think it's been fun for him because he's seeing how much fun it can be making comics.
Chris asks, how did you get hooked up with Ron Garney? Was it your choice or the publisher or Keanu?
It was the publisher gave us like some choices, and so they presented us with a bunch of different art and artists and samples, and then we kind of went through everything and talked about it and talked about the story and to figure out who would be right, and so he's the one we just kind of agreed on. We thought he'd be a good fit, and then we had a meeting with him, and then we all kind of got along and it worked out. But yeah, the editor helped us out because all the artists I know are working on stuff for me already. Like a lot of it's just scheduled too.
Alright, Andrew asks, which of your 3 new books this week would you want us to read first?
Oh my gosh, that's. I don't know, Ursula. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think Fear Case gets the hype it should.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Fear Case, because I think that's the one. It is. It kind of got lost in the shuffle this week. I feel like everything else got headlines, and Fear Case is as good as those other books. I think like the art's great. We got Tyler and Hillary on art and everything, and yeah. So I'm gonna say Fear Case. Read that first. So if you went home and you didn't get it, go back and get it.
No questions right now.
That was a good answer, so thank you.
King Tot says, which one of your books would you want to be a movie or TV show?
Well, any of them really. But, I think Mind Management is the one I'm most excited about. I think the potential for doing something unique is there's more there that you can make a TV show that like we haven't seen before. And I think that was part of my mission statement going into Mind Management, was having grown up reading comics all my life and then working on a ton of comics. I really wanted to do a comic that kind of showed what comics can do that no other medium can do, and do something that couldn't be done in any other medium, and sort of just show like how powerful comics can be. And so I think that's what's exciting for me about developing it for television is doing something like that, but applying that same idea to TV and doing something that can only be done in television, something that can only be done episodically, and then something that uses all the stuff that television can do in a way that we haven't seen before. And I think that's super exciting to me.
Any questions?
I got one from Warren. Warren Simons, my editor at Bad Idea, texts me. He says, "Who is your favorite editor named Warren?" All right. Oh, and he says he's watching. So yes, Warren, it's you. That's a good one. Yeah, I only have a handful of editors I work with anymore, and so I'm picky about who I work with. He knows it. All right. Also, we haven't had any questions about Fortnite or any video games. Like, does nobody play video games? Nobody wants to team up and be on play quads on Fortnite.
Andrew asks, what's your favorite new character from Eniac?
My favorite new character. My favorite characters are it's the duo, Falk and Fletcher, the main female protagonists, are my favorites. They're really fun to write. It almost scratches the same itch that Fearcase does with two characters that just are really close and they have this good relationship and everything, and then like getting to write the dialogue between the two of them is really fun. And also I like that I named those characters after Peter Falk from Columbo, thinking of Columbo, and then Jessica Fletcher from Murder, She Wrote. Super nerdy character naming. And so that's funny to me every time I see their names.
Drew Bailey said, here through Jeff Lemire. Jeff earlier posted that you have BRZRKR and Eniac coming out today, so give you a shout out.
Oh yeah, nice. So he forgot about Fearcase.
Yes.
What a jerk. Just kidding. Me and Jeff are friends. All right. Well, Warren texted me a question. When you're drawing a book, do you script it first? Yeah, I do. I script it first. I start with an outline, and it's funny. It's my process isn't any different. It just stops a little sooner. Like Warren will know this, but like when we're working on a book, the first thing I give him, other than like a paragraph or two pitch, is like a detailed outline, and the name of the document is whatever the title, detailed outline, and the detailed outline is beat by beat everything that happens, like you're describing the story. So like with Eniac, it's like open first 5 pages, they go on this mission, they have to assassinate this person and do this thing, and then they do this, then they do that, and then we cut to this and we do that. And so I'll do an outline that is just reads like that, like I'm just telling you the story in the most basic way, and then I'll break it down into page numbers, and I'll do that. I turn that into Warren for Eniac. We did that, and then when I'm doing it on my own, it's the same. I write that same document for myself, but a lot of times that's the end of the process from writing when I'm drawing it. Then I'll just start drawing it and I'll dialogue it as I go, or I'll dialogue a scene right before I write it, just so I know, like, kind of placeholder dialogue. So it's a lot looser when I'm just drawing it on my own. But then the steps are of course different. Like when I'm writing for an artist, then I take that detailed outline, talk about it with Warren, and then I'll go back and then I'll actually write the script. So it's page 1, panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, add the dialogue, and make a real detailed outline. But for myself, I don't bother because like I kind of already have the idea in my head. Even when I'm writing a script for someone else, it's almost like it's boring. By the time I get done with the detailed outline, the rest of it's almost just typing. I feel like it's already done, and I literally just have to type it out so somebody else can understand what's going on.
Edie Bass mentioned video games, Fortnite and the Division 2.
Division. Haven't played the Division. I have a couple friends that play it. I haven't played that one, but Fortnite I played, and then I started playing Apex because I had another friend that was playing it. I was like, I'll try that one. That's hard. I don't like games that are really hard. I do it to sort of relax. So if it's too much, I can't do it.
Scott Bloom said, I was going to ask if you would do a character design for a video game.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Does he need one?
He said, better question, is there a video game character that you like enough to do fan art of them?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I know that we get a lot of commission requests for a lot of these really obscure video game characters I don't know, and then Brian will draw them, and there's so much stuff on them, and I don't like those. So if I did one, it would be something simple. I'm trying to think of what character design I would like. Let me think about it.
Marla asks your thoughts on White Vision from WandaVision.
Yeah, so spoilers, a little bit of spoiler if you haven't watched all of WandaVision. Yeah, White Vision, I was just talking to Brian about that this week because I had forgotten. Like, I grew up reading John Byrne's Avengers, and then he started writing or doing West Coast Avengers, and then I forgot that there was a White Vision in West Coast Avengers, and I can't remember the story at all. So I don't know what's going on in it, except that it was cool when he showed up. I was like, oh yeah, there was a White Vision. So I like the visual. I think it's cool. But yeah, I have no idea. Even though I've read those comics when I was a kid, I have no idea what's going on.
Edie Bass, who mentioned Fortnite, and the Division 2, said his gamer tag is Iron Man for Bass.
Alright.
And Chris asked, would you ever take one of your projects image, or do you like sticking and working with the publishers you already know?
Yeah, no, I to me comics I've built up over the years relationships with editors and publishers, and so I if the relationship is there, that's what I enjoy, you know. And so I'm happy. Dark Horse, I mean, if you look at my books, they've treated me so well and kind of let me do whatever I want to do. And then with Bad Idea, working with Warren, that's just like a kind of a singular relationship, like our collaboration, the stories we're coming up with. This aren't going to happen anywhere else. So yeah, I'm not against Image, and one day, you know, they're the one publisher I have yet to do something with, so I kind of want to check that box, but it has to be the right project and the right situation. All right, I got another text question from Warren. I'm gonna skip the one. He asked me a serious one about do I enjoy stories that are smaller in length as opposed to long form narrative, and I think I talked about that a little bit earlier, but yeah, I definitely, the 8-page stories, when we started doing those again, I forgot how much fun those were. Like, they're so great. It's so fun to try to come up with a full story that's like a little ticking clock. So when you get to page 8, it pays off, you know. I feel like writing those 8-page stories is kind of like writing a joke. Like, you're setting it up, and then there's a punchline. Not that it's funny or anything, but it's just that they have to have kind of a point to them, and it has to be sort of like short and efficient. So those are fun. Those are the most fun I've had. And then Warren's daughter is asking, what is my favorite weapon in Fortnite? My favorite weapon in Fortnite is I like the little 45 handgun. I'm really good at that. And then I combine that with just whatever the M16 type one is. I don't know what they're called, but that one. Sniping, I'm not very good at sniping. Shotguns, I'm terrible at. But that little 45, you can shoot it so fast. You just keep pulling the trigger. That's the one.
Okay. Comic Burrito asks, what comics are you currently reading?
What am I currently reading? I can look. I put them down here so that I wouldn't forget. Where's that one? I think I might have loaned it out. I just read a book called The Highwayman, published by Top Shelf Highwayman, that Lemire recommended to me, and that was really good. I couldn't believe how good it was. So I recommend that one. If I can find it, I'll tell you who the author is. And also, this is good. Purdy. I don't know if this. I read these. I read this year by Kickley. It's his. I don't know if it's a pen name. He changed his name, but he used to do these other books that I really love too. I don't know what this one's called. Death Day by Sam Heady. I don't know if anybody knows Sam Heady, but he did this great book. And it's just it's really cool. Like, I just love his art style. Trying to get ink on it. But just his cool stuff. Like, he's got a really loose European style. And then this one's fun. Purdy's fun. It's like a Western. And I just love his like loose hand lettering and everything and the color. That one's really fun. Yeah, those are two that I read recently. I recommend.
Drew asks, for someone who is new to your work, where's a good place to start?
Well, today, if you bought the books today, that's the best place. And then if you're gonna start on, what would you say, Ursula? I'm looking at.
A lot of people like mind management.
Yeah, I think mind management's probably that really shows what I'm doing, what it's all about. Department, it's a little bit longer though, so it's a lot going into it. Department H is a good one. It's kind of a murder mystery. That's good. That one's a little longer.
And he came through Jeff Lemire. Don't you have a book with him? Jeff Lemire.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff. Well, we have a new book coming out, Cosmic Detective. And then what else did we co-write? We wrote a book called The Valiant, for Valiant. That's good. And that's a fun one. That's if you like superheroes. That's a really good one. But yeah, Cosmic Detective we just wrote, and then David Rubin's doing the art on. We haven't. It's not quite done yet. It'll be out probably later this year. I'm trying to think what else I've read.
Someone asks, which emotion is the most difficult to draw?
That's a good one. I think drawing someone winking is really hard to do. It seems like it'd be easy. It's not. It looks like something's wrong with them. So any kind of like winking or flirting, that's horrible. Really hard to draw. Yeah, that's the worst.
Comic Burrito said, mind management was the book I read the week my daughter was born, and it holds a special place in my heart because of that.
Nice.
And King Tot said, can't wait for Cosmic Detective. And Drew said, I've heard good things about mind management. We'll check it out.
Cool. Yeah, thanks.
No questions.
No, that's all right. No, that's funny. I have a very, very distinct memory of Two Sisters. This book, Dark Horse publishes it, but I remember inking that book. My daughter was just born, and I remember holding her in one arm, trying to get these pages done. I was holding her in one arm, and I had propped the milk bottle up like this, so she could eat And then I was doing that, and then I was literally inking a page with my other hand. And I just had such a vivid memory. Like I could probably find the page I was working on. I was like, what am I doing? I tried it for a while, and it was too much, and so I stopped. But yeah, that's what's funny. If you go back as an artist, if you go back and look at pages, you can remember exactly where you were and kind of like what you were thinking when you were drawing those pages. So all these every book I've done, it's always like it's like a little artifact of where I was at the time, what I was doing, what I was thinking. So I don't. I like all of my books for different reasons. But that's why I like drawing. But when I'm actually writing, I feel like I'm just gone. Like I'm not in the world. I'm in the world I'm writing. And so that's why I don't like writing if I'm on the road, or if we go on a trip. I don't like writing because then I'm wasting that travel time. I know we went to Ursula, or we went to Vienna for like a month, and I remember I had to write the end of Department H there, and I just kept putting it off because I didn't want to. I knew that as soon as I started writing it, I was just gonna be not there, and I ended up doing it a couple of days. I finished it, and it was a bummer because I just wasn't. I could have been anywhere on Earth, and I was wasting it in Vienna.
Sprout said the Valiant is awesome. That was the first trade I bought and kept going back.
Nice.
Ursula Animation asked, did you attempt the 24-hour comic day ever?
I did, but back when I was in college, probably like 93, 94, I did a 24-page comic. It was so bad. It was really bad. Yeah, I wouldn't do it again. The closest I've come since then is I painted an issue of Mind Management in a day, and that was like a 24-hour comic, but it was just the painting part. And when I was done that day, I wasn't very happy, so I decided I would never do that again. Alright. I'm getting through these books. I need more books. So I'll go get them. I'll go wrap some real quick. Alright, ask me a question. Okay.
Bill Crabtree said, you and I both have COVID hair like Ubik Kong Kupra.
Yeah, I know. He texted me a photo earlier. Bill Crabtree he's the colorist I was talking about, and colorist on BRZRKR. Anyway, he texted me earlier today, but I think he cropped out his hair.
Alright. Marla asks, what book features your daughter's artwork? Any other Easter eggs we should hunt for?
Yeah. The book 3 Story actually contains some art by Emma, who's my niece. I think she drew something in there, and then Ella's art is in Department H. She did a couple of pieces in there. There's like a kid adventure team. She drew all of that, and then or painted it. I can't remember if she drew or painted it. I think she just painted it. I drew it and she painted it. And then I'm sure some stuff in Mind Management I can't even remember right now. Yeah, she's always done a little something and everything, but Mind Management, Department H, and 3 Story, or Family Affairs.
Nathan said, I'm halfway done reading BRZRKR 1. I think it's super awesome. I actually bought every cover I could of that comic, even the 1 in 1,000 variant. Keep up the good work. Are you going to have a CGC event?
Oh yeah, somebody emailed me about doing a CGC event. I think I am doing one. I just don't remember who or where. It's like a grading. It's where they grade the comics. So you sign them and they put them in like those plastic cases and then they're graded. Yeah, I think I'm doing something. I can't remember if that was for sure or not, but maybe.
Okay. Chris said, I remember seeing a convention photo of the sketch you did of a cardinal on a St. Louis Cardinals hat.
Yeah.
Do you have any unusual sketch/commission requests that stick in your memory?
Yeah, this one guy had a sketchbook and he just wanted different characters eating pie. And I was like, I don't know if I don't think I'm doing that one. so that was one of the weirder ones that I remember. And then the hat, I remember that. That's all right. I'm a Cardinals fan. I'm in St. Louis. Sorry, Mets fans. Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other weird ones. Yeah, that guy with the pie sketchbook or whatever is the weirdest, maybe creepiest one.
Everyone's just saying, thanks for being so awesome, Matt. Thanks for doing these live streams.
Cool. Yeah, I know if anybody has any requests for doing anything else, like even if it's just a work day or something, let me know. I thought about doing that, just doing like a day in the life of like what it's like from beginning to end, but I'm not sure how exciting that would be. I make coffee, check email, but I'd be up for doing something like that. I don't know.
Chris says, love the Cardinals. I have family in St. Charles.
Oh yeah.
And I warned them we got 10 minutes left to ask
All right.
questions.
Cool.
And then Kindt asked, any more ether in the future?
I don't know if we're gonna do any more story stuff, but I think they're planning like a big library oversized edition with some new art and different things in there. And then I don't know. I'll talk to David. Maybe we'll throw in an extra little story or something into it. But I don't think there's any more story stuff. I think we're just gonna do like a really nice edition with a lot of like notes and background and sketches and things like that. Yeah, I feel like with Ether, I feel like we've kind of finished it. I don't know, but I thought that about mind management, and then now I have ideas for more to do. So I never say we're never doing another thing.
Ursula Animation said any process video would be great, writing or art.
All right. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do inking. I'll do penciling. It's I think we have. Did we post the Grogu, the Baby Yoda one yet?
No, not yet.
Yeah. So there's one coming up that's penciling, inking, painting all of it at once. I think it's a Baby Yoda one. Grogu. All right. Thanks to everyone that went out and got books today. Saw a lot of posts. If you got that bad idea button, it's pretty cool. Yes, usually I'm home by now. But this is good. Got a little extra work in today. Yeah, what did I do? I'll tell you what I did today. How much time we got left? 5 minutes? Yeah. Woke up, came in. No, walked up, got some coffee, then came in. Checked some email. I did we're writing commentary for BRZRKR #1. Boom asked Keanu and I to write like a commentary for every page. But I don't know if it's going in a deluxe edition or hardcover, or if it's going in the Kickstarter version, something. So we had to go through and we went through every page and just talked about it, like what we were thinking and stuff we liked, and basically like director's commentary before the comic. So today I was like writing my half and cleaning it up, and then putting it together and getting that together for Keanu to proofread. And then so I got that done. Then I finished the script for issue 5 of Berserker. That needs to be proofed. Ursula's proofing that for me. Just get rid of the typos. And then I actually wrote the first 6 pages of a new book that I'm doing with Tyler after Fear Case. And so he needed to start, and I had the outline, the detailed outline already done. So I just typed up the first 6 pages of that for him so he could get started. And then we got ready for this. That was my day today. Mostly writing.
King Todd said, thanks for writing the best comics out there. Eniac was wild.
Awesome. Thanks.
Marla asked, which comic was the coolest to see published in another country or language?
Boy, that's a good question. I think Department H was great because they were kind of oversized and the covers were cool, and it was the French language versions. And what I liked about that was that it was the one that Charlene and I had worked on together. So when we went over there to promote books and everything, it was great because it was the first time we were together. We were there together as like a team, working together. It wasn't just me doing my thing and then her there. It was like we got to be there together as like professional creators, which is super fun.
Bill Crabtree says, Ella, favorite Switch game? And this is Ursula, Ella's cousin, but I think we would both agree that Animal Crossing is the best.
Yeah, Animal Crossing. We were so late to that. I bought that for Christmas. We couldn't get a PlayStation 5, so I was like, well, I want something for Christmas. Christmas season is like the time I play video games. It's the only time I usually have. So I was like, I wanted something new. So I bought the Switch, and I was like, man, it's like just for me, you know. And then I was like, oh, I think I'll get Animal Crossing, try that out. And then the whole family ended up being addicted to it, like over Christmas. And still now, I kind of stopped playing because I don't have time. But everybody else is carried on we're all on the same island or whatever. And but yeah, I don't know if it's the best. It's the one we play the most.
Arsenal Animation says, thanks to you too, Ella, as well as Matt, for doing this for us.
Are they calling you Ella?
Yes.
Oh, this is Ursula's my niece. She's the one helping me. Ella's at home. Ella's getting ready to go to college, so she's going to be she just decided on Minnesota this year, or this week. Minnesota University of Minnesota. And so she's getting ready for that. She's already getting ready to leave me. But it's okay. Ursula never leave.
You can plan when to stick around.
I know. Just for a while. Who's gonna run this if you don't? All right.
Almost 8. So
Yeah. That's good. I'm toast. That's fun. Thanks for all the questions, everybody. Thanks for showing up. Is that it then?
Yep.
All right. Cool. Thanks, everyone.